Does spending more on switches mean you'll get a smoother and better sounding switch? With so many linear switch options out there, it can be a little overwhelming to choose which one to get. Today we'll be comparing linear switches at 4 different price points. At 20 cents per switch, Gateron Yellows will cost you $12 to fill a 60% board. At 55 cents per switch, Alpacas will cost you $33 to fill a 60% board. At $1 per switch, Tealios will cost you $60 to fill a 60% board. At $5 per switch, Hirose Orange switches will cost you $300 to fill a 60% board. Stock switches come in all shapes and forms. Different materials can mean different smoothness, and varying levels of factory lube can affect the feel and sound of the switch. To ensure an even playing ground, I've lubed and filmed each of these switches with Krytox 205 Grade 0 and TX films. For this comparison, I'll be focusing on 2 things, smoothness and sound. I'll start by showing you a few seconds of each switch back to back so you can hear what they sound like before I tell you what I think. You ready? Let's get typing. First off, if you thought the difference was subtle, I completely agree. Here's a quick summary of how each switch felt and sounded. Gateron Yellows had a low pitch with a satisfying bottom out sound, but some scratchiness remained even after lubing. Alpacas also had a low pitch with a satisfying bottom out sound, but unlike the Gateron Yellows, they had no scratchiness. These were extremely smooth even before lubing, so you don't even need to lube the stem to get rid of the scratchiness in the stock switch. Tealios had a higher pitched sound with little to no scratchiness. These were not quite as smooth as Alpacas, but not nearly as scratchy as Gateron Yellows. Last but not least, the Hirose Oranges produced a relatively higher pitched sound with little scratchiness. To me, these sounded almost identical to the Tealios, although they felt slightly scratchier, but still less scratchy than Gateron Yellows. In general, I liked how all of these switches felt and sounded, and it's hard for me to choose one over the other based solely on sound. But when you take into account cost and smoothness, my ranking would be Alpacas, Gateron Yellows, Tealios, and Hirose Oranges. If price wasn't a factor, I might switch Tealios and Gateron Yellows, but I'd definitely keep Alpacas as my favorite switch out of these 4. There are 2 important takeaways from today's test. Not all linear sound and feel the same, so it's definitely worth exploring the different linear switches options out there so you can choose one that fits your preferences. And more importantly, when it comes to linear switches, more expensive does not mean a better switch. The sweet spot lately seems to be the 55 to 70 cent per switch range, which includes Alpacas, creams, and tangerines. And that's all I have for today. What do you think of these switches? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, remember to hit that subscribe button. Bye!